Hello and welcome to my Elite Dangerous, the day-to-day grind. And it is a grind. Preparing for my fleet carrier, because I get more excited every moment that I think about how I'm going to use it, read basically what it can do. I think it's going to do everything I need it to do. I think it's great for me. So I am excited about it. At first I wasn't extremely excited. I was just a hair bit disappointed, but the more I read and learn about it, the more I think I'm going to like it. Well, every 50 million we do a video, and we're fixing to cross the 8.2 billion. So we're going to create a video of crossing that, and we're going to talk about the fleet carrier. And then I found a home for my fleet carrier where I'm going to park it, and it's a uninhabited system that is 25 light years from Sothis and about 20 light years from Ceos, and it's within jump range of both of my ships, my Python and my Cutter. So it has 5 planets with icy rings. Icy rings is where you find tritetium. So I'm pretty sure on one of those 5 there'll be tritetium. However you wind up saying that. But it looks like, so far, I don't know, won't know till beta, if that place is going to work out. So I can buy tritium in Sothis and Ceos, and I can deliver it to the fleet cutter, and it just has a long name, the initial names that they give it. It's not a short name, it's a long name. And I'm gonna let it park there. It'll be orbiting the first planet with an icy ring. So that will be the first place that we try to mine. We'll transport, like I said, tritium from Sothis or Ceos. And I'll transfer all my modules. I got 72 saved modules, and I have 3 ships. So they'll all be transferred to the fleet carrier. So I am excited about that. And well, let's get started, and we'll talk about what I know about the fleet carrier. That's what we do at each of these videos. First of all, the fleet carrier will cost 5 billion credits. That's just to get into it. I have 8.1 fixing to be 8.2 billion credits. So do I wish I had a lot more? Maybe between now and June, when I buy the fleet carrier, I'll have more. I would like to have about 10 billion above what I spend and put into the balance of the fleet carrier. But we'll see. It takes me longer since I'm doing videos. If I wasn't doing videos for every 15-20 minutes, I could deliver an average of about 15 million credits through cargo running between Sothis and Ceos. That's why I want it in jump range, a single jump range of Sothis and Ceos. And that will be my home station. And that's what I'm going to use the fleet carrier for. It's going to be home. And has 25,000 storage tons available, which is pretty awesome. And I'll probably get another small ship. I have the original Sidewinder that, as far as I know, you can't sell it. It's just loaned to you by the Pilots Federation. If you die, that's the ship you wind up with. And if you have no money, well, I have plenty of credits, and I'm not going to use my credits to zero anytime soon, so I should be okay. Now, just like the last few days out, it's been a terrible allergy time, and even Zyrtec is not helping. My family and friends are all suffering through allergies right now, so I don't know if the coronavirus had anything in enhancing allergies, but I don't know what the deal is there. Individuals will buy the fleet carrier, not groups. In the beginning, they talked about maybe groups would buy it, but no, it's one individual will buy the fleet carrier, and they can only have one. And you can invite people to land on and use your fleet carrier. Using it meaning using the services in the fleet carrier. It has a 500 light year maximum jump range, and it will actually jump to a planet where it will orbit a planet. It's not, now if you tell it just the system, it'll orbit the main star, but I'm going to have it orbit the first planet with icy rings, which is about 1800 light seconds from the star, and the furthest planet with icy rings is about 17,000 light seconds. So there's a big range in there, 1800 to 17,000. And I'll be surface scanning those rings and testing the mining on those rings. And I wish I could move the fleet carrier from planet to planet within a system, but no, you have to jump out to the next system and then jump back in to the next planet. So that's probably what we'll have to do. It comes with 500 tons of fuel, which is 1 ton per light year in jump. So that probably won't get me to Sothis and Ceos unless they put where you can buy it, and they might, because Sothis is so far out, where you can buy it at Sothis, and that'd be great if I could buy it at Sothis and then jump 25 light years to the station, the system that it's going to be its initial home. There will be a fleet carrier vendor that you'll buy it from. So in contacts, you'll have a fleet carrier vendor at one of 12 or 13 system or stations will have that fleet carrier vendor. And there you'll see a showroom of multiple types of fleet carriers. There'll be a default fleet carrier, there'll be a trader fleet carrier, there'll be a mining fleet carrier, and there'll be an explorer fleet carrier. So I'll just have to look at the showroom because it's going to be home, and it probably will be the default because I'm going to use it for about everything. So it's my motorhome, and I'll spend maybe a week or two, at different places throughout the bubble, and that's my base. It has all my modules, has all my ships, it has fuel and repair and restock, and it'll have a remote workshop and outfitting and shipyard and advanced maintenance and all that stuff. It'll just be home. And then we need space legs where I can run around and have a house inside of it. That would be great. Okay, so the next thing. Okay. When you come to a station, you see their services like you see here. When you park on your fleet carrier, you will see a fleet carrier management screen. and you can do everything with the fleet carrier from that management screen. Well, what if you're not on the fleet carrier? Sis right? Sis right. See, there's 3 tabs here and there's 2 tabs here, but if you got a fleet carrier, there'll be 3 tabs there in the middle, and the middle one will be fleet carrier management. You can completely manage your fleet carrier from anywhere in the galaxy. So you can call it, so it'll come to you if you have enough fuel. And you might have to move fuel into the fuel tank. You know, I wish it would be where you could program it to pull Tetrium from storage into the fuel tank as it needs it. You can transfer cargo, commodities, things like that to the fleet carrier, to and from, and you can transfer your credits to and from. Fleet carrier has its own balance where you have your balance. I'm going to probably, in the beginning, when I buy it, I'm going to transfer probably $1.5 billion to the fleet carrier. And now in the beta, which is April the 7th, and it's April 5th now, so it's 2 days from now. It's 5 a.m. Central, 11 UTC. Is when the beta starts. Now, many of you do not have $5 billion in your account because only about 3% of the total players have at least $5 billion in their account. But what I have heard that might happen in past updates, 10% of the cost of the fleet carrier is all you have to pay during the beta. Now, of course, that's a separate instance. It's not connected with your main instance. It doesn't affect your main instance and credits, reputation, or anything. It's completely separate. So you might be able to buy the fleet carrier for $500 million if they do it the way they've done before. And then you can use up all your credits. And they say they usually do it 2 weeks before the beta. So I think I had around 6.3 billion 2 weeks ago. So if they take 5, then I'll have 5.8 billion to load it up with fuel and transfer all my 72 stored modules to it and my 3 ships, and I'll just transfer everything to it. So that'll be pretty cool. And I'm hoping in the shipyard I can call all my ships to the fleet carrier. Now I'll probably have to fly to the fleet carrier like with the Python, and then I'll call my other ships and all of my modules to the fleet carrier. The minimum weekly upkeep charge is 10 million. And I know I can hear gulps all over from all my viewers, or most of them. But if you have 8.2 billion, 10 million a week is really nothing. So that's why I have you out here at Sothis and Ceos, because you need to be able to make credits. We make up to 22 million we can. If I wasn't doing videos, I could make up to 22 million credits every 15 to 20 minutes. As long as I can mentally stand it, I can make up to 22 million. So that's why I have you out here, because I want you to see how to maximize the reputation with the factions, and where you see rewards on 180 units for as high as 10,500,000. So 10.5 million. And we primarily transfer palladium and gold, just those two. The palladium pays the most, gold pays the next. And they do have silver and all these other things out here too at Sothis Mining, but we try to keep it just to the palladium and gold as much as we can, because we want to maximize our return. And my Python has 280 storage units, and we load it up, and even a partial. We fill it to the top when we deliver to a location. If you're into illegal stuff, it has a secure trading service. That means if you have imperial slaves, if you're doing narcotics or liquor or whatever, even in a system where that stuff is outlawed, the factions and the security services cannot scan your fleet carrier. They cannot see it. Now, in one of the introduction videos, Frontier says now if they find out about it, like through other commanders landing and delivering or buying narcotics from your fleet carrier, it can damage your reputation with those factions, because they're pretty sure they got it from you. If they didn't have it when they went to your fleet carrier, but they had it after they left your fleet carrier, yes, it's assumed that they got it from you. And it could hurt your reputation, but your fleet carrier is indestructible. You or no one else can destroy your fleet carrier. It can be decommissioned, but it cannot take damage, even from Thargoids. If you're at a Thargoid home system, and they are rabid in that system per se, they can attack your ships, but they can't attack your fleet carrier. And if they attack your ships within the 10,000 kilometers, your fleet carrier is going to attack them. It has weapons, and it will shoot at them because it's trying to protect everyone trying to land that has permission to land on the fleet carrier. And you give permissions. You can give permissions to everybody if you want. You can give permissions to just your squadron, or your friends, or only yourself, or your squadron and your friends. So you do have a few opportunities there. You have things like you see here on this page. You can have refueling, repair, restock, livery, a remote workshop, outfitting, shipyard, and I'm sure advanced maintenance too. You can have all those services. Now that adds to your upkeep charge. The minimum is 10 million a week. It can go as high as like 25 million a week if you loaded it up with all the things that you have to pay for, because you have to hire crews to handle all of those things. And you can do that from your fleet carrier management screen. Now, if you're going to be away for a few weeks, you can suspend your crew, and they take much less, a fraction of what they normally take if they're suspended. So it wouldn't be the whole 25 million a week. I'm not sure what it would be per week, but you're still going to be charged. So you need to have enough credits to cover. And my guess is, see, if you were maxed out, a billion would cover 40 weeks. But I doubt I'm going to be maxed on the services. So my guess is, mine's going to last, a billion will last over a year. And if I'm not doing videos, I can make a billion in 2 days. So it's not really that huge of a deal. And many, since the fuel is a derivative of hydrogen, it might have something to do with helium, and it does have something to do with lithium. So, and based on the prices of those things and fuel prices, most believe it'll be between 50 and 90 credits per ton. If that's the case, it only costs $45,000, if it's 90, 45,000 credits to make a 500 light year jump in fuel cost, in tritium. So we're going to buy it, we're going to mine it, and I'm going to create videos of all of that. So please subscribe to my channel where you get notified when I make these videos, and it helps me with YouTube. And eventually, if I can get enough subscribers, I can even get support from YouTube. So please help us in that regard. It's probably 3 or 4 videos ago, and you might check those out. I'm at Babbage at that point. I'm at New Dawn now, but I was at Babbage, and I had all my ships there. So we went to outfitting, and you could see my Python. So if I go to outfitting, you can see my Python. It's in a cobalt color. It has extra side fins, and it has the spoiler on the back. Well, my cutter has side fins. It's cobalt, and it has the spoiler in the back. Your fleet carrier can have custom paint jobs, fins. I don't know about a spoiler yet, but we'll find out on Tuesday in the livery if I can make it look semi like my Python and cutter. So I think that's pretty cool. I like the cobalt because out in space and on planets it just glistens, and it's pretty cool. Now in a hangar it's not as nice, but out in space and on planets it's really nice. Now when you're jumping, let's say, I don't know if I can buy it from Sothis, if that'll be one of the 12-13 places that you can buy one, and I hope so, because Sothis is way out here kind of by itself. So either in Ceos or Sothis, I hope I can buy it from there. Let's say I jump those 25 light years to its new system where it's going to live. It has a charge up time of an hour before it jumps. And I don't know if you've seen the mega ships go through hyperspace and the big battleships for the Federation and the Empire, but what happens is this cloud forms right in front of the fleet carrier, and lightning and thunder and roar, and then the fleet carrier will move into it. And if you'll go to Elite Dangerous YouTube channel, and that's the Maker Frontiers channel, and watch that video on the announcement of the fleet carriers, this latest one from March, I think that one was the March 26th or the April 2nd, but watch both of those. That'll be a good idea. You will see it go into hyperspace. You need to see that. You really need to see that. And the first time that we show it, I'm probably going to take a snippet out of that. I recorded it. and put it into my video, just where, and they're showing it going into hyperspace. That is really cool. You got to see that. But there's an hour ramp up time and an hour cooldown time. So if you make a jump, there's 2 hours before you can make another jump. But I'm not going to make another jump unless I have to buy it further away, further than 500 light years, and it has to make 2 jumps. Then it'll be a ramp up, a cool down, a ramp up, and a cool down. So it'll take 4 hours of just wait time. So what's driving some people, especially explorers, the craziest, there is no universal cartographics on the fleet carrier. And the problem with that is, if I do a discovery scan or a surface scan of a planet, and I get killed between the time I take those scans and I sell those scans, I lose them. They don't go with you when you die. They're gone. Like engineering materials, raw materials, encoded materials, and manufactured materials, it's like they're on a pen drive and they're in your pocket when you die, and they go with you when you respawn. But universal cartographics does not. But what does go with you, which got them scratching their heads, is bounty vouchers go with. You can turn them in on your fleet carrier bounties for if you're a bounty hunter, but not universal cartographics. They're both data. So hopefully in the future they will turn on the universal cartographics on your fleet carrier, because stations between here and Colonia have universal cartographics, and really your fleet carrier is a station. It's your own personal station, and you have remote access to it. If you have remote access to it, why don't you have universal cartographics access? So that's kind of weird. Let's see. Let's say after a month you're sick of it. It costs too much money. You don't want to pay the monthly 10 to 25 million, and you want to sell it back. Well, it's called decommissioning. It takes a whole week from the time you request a decommission till it officially decommissions. Where you paid $5 billion for it, they only give you back $4 billion, so you lose $1 billion when you decommission it from what you paid for it. Several years ago, when they first talked about fleet carriers, they said there'd be support ships. There's no longer support ships that come with it. That for now is gone. Now your ships are the support ships. My cutter and my Python are its support ships, because that's home. That's my home station. And it's my Winnebago, my motorhome, and all my possessions, ships and everything, live in my motorhome, basically, the fleet carrier. Okay, there's 2 betas. There is April the 7th, which is 2 days from now, and there's May. In 2 days, that's PC players only. In 2 days, at 5 a.m. Central, 11 UTC. And in May, it will be PC and consoles. So you might have to wait till May if you're playing on a console. And the PC you got starting on Tuesday and in May. So I don't know if it's only for a day on Tuesday or a week or just all the way through. I don't know. We'll find out. As Frontier says, we'll find out more on Tuesday. So, okay. And what I understand is they make a copy of their server. And today, this instance that I'm in, I have 8.1 fixing to be 8.2 billion. So what I've understood from past upgrades or past betas, they take a snapshot of this instance, this universe or this galaxy, and all the players, they take a copy and they put it on another server, and you're accessing this other server, and sometimes it's 2 weeks in the rear, or beforehand. And I believe I had 6.3 billion at the time, 2 weeks ago. So on this beta instance, it might only be 6.3, but they might only charge you 10% of what the fleet carrier normally runs. So then that would only be 500 million. Actually, I hope that, because then I got plenty of money to spend, because you can spend all your money during beta, but if you go back to your regular instance, which you can keep going back and forth, none of that was spent. So anything you gain or lose during beta does not affect your main account. Sys right. In Codex, Player's Handbook, there will be a section called Fleet Carriers, or Fleet Carrier. And it'll give you all the information about fleet carriers, where this is giving you information about mining. And I'll show you where my fleet carrier is going to live. Sys left. Right here. This is where my fleet carrier is going to live. All of these 5 ringed planets are icy rings. The tritium that it uses for fuel is found in icy rings. This system is 25 light years from Sothis and probably about 20 from Ceos. So it's one jump for my Python and my cutter. That's why I got that first one bookmarked, because you jump to a planet or a star and then it orbits that planet. Well, my fleet carrier in the very beginning is going to orbit this first planet, which is A4. And in these belts, these asteroid belts, there might even be some in there too. But especially these rings, these icy rings. And I'm going to surface scan and scan the rings and all of that as soon as I have it transported here. So that's where my fleet carrier will begin its life, is right here. So you see Sothis and Ceos, it'll be right in here. And if you look, compared to like Maya and the rest of where I run around, normally run around, it's pretty far. It's about 550 light years away. So all of these systems that you see, those little dots, we'll be checking those out to see where the best places to mine. Now, we won't get to all of them because there's too many of them, but first we're going to try that first place that this Gua THUC16-14. That's where it's going to live for now. So I wanted to show you that. And like I said, I want to put about 1.5 billion into the balance of the fleet carrier. I also want to have about 10,000 tons of tritium. So that's about 10,000 light years in total. And as you can tell, I'm 550 away from the rest of civilization, and that'll be plenty for jumps and things like that. And I'll probably stay in its home area for a week or two before I go on and do other things. Now, it cannot jump into a permit system, a system that requires a permit. At this time, it cannot jump into a permit system. Now, I wish if you were the only one using it and you're set to none on who can use it, which is only the owner, and the owner has that permit, I wish it would allow you to jump into that permit. So hopefully they'll change that at some point. But you could park it in a system next door to the permit system and then just use your ship to jump into the permit system. Okay, I think that's about it for now for that. So let's pick up the cargo and deliver the cargo and hit 8.2 billion. Is this up? And if you like watching interdictions, you will probably see plenty of them. We get interdicted 3 to 7 times in COs.
Landing gear retracted.
Detach is good. You may leave when ready.
And that's in a single super cruise that we get interdicted that much. I like to zoom out on my sensor so I see as far as I can around me.
You must submit a request before
Frameshift
landing.
drive charging.
Make sure you press that subscribe button at the bottom right hand corner. That'll help me with YouTube. Notifies you when I produce more videos.
3, 2, 1, engage.
And it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to someone's channel. So please subscribe. And in the bottom of the description of this video, you'll see ways to donate. Please consider donating to our channel. We could really use it because costs are terrible. It's terrible. It's very expensive to produce over 500 videos, and storage and other hardware and software and production equipment and sound equipment, all of that. So I need your help. Underneath the video to the left, you'll see my YouTube channel where there's over 500 videos on about everything, the engineers, and it's in detail, fine detail, of how to unlock the engineers, where the engineer is at, the modules that they engineer, and the ones that I had on the Python, what material you would need to modify that module. And there's material traders, so you can do the remote workshop with the blueprint prints from the engineer, and while you're at the material trader moving are trading materials to get the materials you need for the engineer, you can actually do the engineering on that module, one module at a time. And then there's places to get the materials like Dab's Hope and James and Crash Site and many others, but those two I have videos on and showing you how to gather raw materials, manufactured materials, and encoded materials the quickest way possible. Sys left. Since we haven't been interdicted yet, we'll go ahead and go into Super Cruise Assist. That's when they're in a frenzy. I usually don't use it. We can move away from the target and Super Cruise Assist will suspend. Sometimes we have to do that because it gets just too crazy, because the pirates will try to throw us into the planet next to the station. And the pirates have superpowers. They can just pop out from clean space right behind you, or thin space right behind you. And they can travel the system in seconds, where you can't do that. They have superpowers that no one else has. Unfortunately, that's the feature I dislike the most, is the interdictions. But when I complain to Frontier about it, they say, well, it's working as it was intended. But when your developers are all from Somalia, what do you expect? They're all pirates. They were born and raised pirates. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything but pirating. So everything in this game pretty much surrounds pirating. It should be reality, because it's more of a virtual reality type game, or it has the ability to be a fully virtual reality game. I use the Oculus Rift S headset VR, and you can be submersed into the game with it. Sys left. So I don't sugarcoat stuff. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it.
Docking request denied. Docking request denied.
Yeah, they do this to you. It's that obstacle course mentality they have too. Sys left. The same ship, no matter where I go in the whole galaxy, it tries to beat me to the stations.
Docking request granted.
At every small station in the galaxy. Well, there's 2 ships that do it. That's one of 2. And it's just to aggravate you. They do it on purpose. Like I said, they have a pirate mentality. And everything's supposed to aggravate you. So, I'm aggravated a lot in this game. Now I've got 2,100 hours, so it can't all be bad, but there's plenty that I don't like. So to me, it's an okay game. Or it's a good game. It's not a great game. It could be a great game, but they don't care what I like and what I don't like. I can tell. They make that very clear, that they don't care what I think. I don't think they care what their players think. In general, they don't care. So, and, that's too bad. Okay, let's load up. You don't want to hear my rants the whole time. Sys left. I like to take the oldest ones first, because they expire and they fine you and all this other stuff. So I don't like being fined. So we're going to go to Babbage. That is where my cutter is. So I'll let you see the cutter in outfitting so you can see my Python compared to my cutter and kind of see what I want my fleet carrier to look like. Okay, this is Help 11 of 108 gold. So we're going to Babbage. That's where all my ships are, including the original Sidewinder. Sys left. New Dawn, Brunel, New Dawn, Babbage. Help 180 Palladium. And Palladium pays the most. Babbage. We're going to load up until this cargo hold is totally full. Sys left. I don't like running with empty cargo spots. Boom 108 Palladium. Babbage. And I'm making sure it's all goes to the same place. Okay, that's a partial. And we are full.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
We need 7.3 million. Sys left. Okay, there is 3.6. And there is 4.5. So that's 8.1. And we needed 7.3. So we should be good. To hit our goal. And sometimes, because of the partial, sometimes you only do 8 million and sometimes you do 22 million. So it averages over 12 million, but you will sometimes have those 8 millions, which is not terrible. See, there's a gold and there's a palladium. We want palladiums first, and I load up on them because they're not always available. Sometimes you look for missions and there's not any. So sys left. See, the game allows you up to 20 cargo missions, not 1, 20. See, many say you should never carry more than 1. And you should have your cargo hold mainly empty. So how much sense does that make? I don't understand their logic. Well, there's no logic in it. It's just because they say so. It's not because it means that it makes any sense. Because it doesn't. There's another palladium. I try to get the palladiums first because they pay the most. So you play the way you want to play. If you're that way that you're only going to carry 1 mission, even if it's only 1 unit, and leave your whole cargo hold empty, then go for it. That's up to you. I'm not going to say that that's dumb or anything like that. I'm not going to, because that's what you want to do. Am I going to do that? No, I am not going to do that. I don't play like that. Sys left. Okay, there's 20. We just added some palladium. Sys left. I closed it too soon. Set our destination. Babbage. You see the little the reddish orange says my ships are there. It says I have a Sidewinder and an Imperial cutter, is what it says. I haven't used the Sidewinder since I traded up, or I upgraded, but you can't trade it in, so you always have a Sidewinder. In case you die with no money, you got a Sidewinder. So let's go deliver this cargo and get to 8.2 billion. Again, if you're not talking and describing things and doing videos, you can do these in about 15-20 minutes
Landing gear retracted.
and do around
Ship release.
75
Engines
million an
engaged.
hour.
Frameshift drive charging.
And load up on those cargo, because sometimes you're going to come to
1. Engage.
Sothis mining and they're not going to have much. And they're not going to have any palladium or gold. So if you load up on the palladium and gold, you can come here 2 or 3 times. There's no additional missions, but you got plenty of stored missions, stacked missions as they call them. And they make it sound like that's such a terrible thing.
Incoming
Then
mission critical message.
Why did Frontier allow you to carry 20 missions if that's a terrible thing? It's not terrible to me, and it's never been terrible to me. So I play the way I want to play. I want you to play the way you want to play. And I'm not going to tell you how to play. I'm going to show you how I play. And if that works for you and you can make credits like I make, super. I want you to have a fleet carrier, and I want you to have a cutter, and I want you to have a Python and an Anaconda and a Type 9 and a Corvette and all of that. I want you to have those things. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I've flown about all of them. Bought them and then sold them. I wanted to see what felt the best. So I've done that. You should do that too. It's fun. I like buying one of every ship and just playing around with it. And I keep coming back to the Python and the cutter. Mainly the Python. I use that more than anything. Just because it's agile, I'm just comfortable with it. It responds well. 280 units of cargo space. The way I have it outfitted. I just like it. And I always come back to it. I might use the cutter every once in a while, but then I wind up coming back to the Python because it just feels better with my controllers and stuff. Now, of course, the cutter holds a whole lot more of everything because it's so much bigger. It just feels bigger. Feels like a freight train. So, just huge. But it's fun to play with. We'll use it more with a fleet carrier when we're doing tritium runs and things. That's why I love that you can have it orbit a planet, like the planet you're mining. I just think that's so awesome. Because even if you had trouble with pirates, you could collect, say, 25% load and go dump it into your into the fleet carrier. Is this left? happy with being that close with possible enemies behind me. I don't like that. So I'd rather move out and try to put them to the side or in front of me if there's quite a few of them. It's not as bad until you get next to the planet. I'd rather the stations be in a higher orbit. I wouldn't have as much trouble with the pirates if they were in a higher orbit. And I'm watching that center dot in the sensor. See if a pirate pops in right behind me using his superpowers that only he can do. Ooh, boy, popped in right behind me right as we were coming out of Super Cruise. So he'll probably attack us here at the station. They always do that when you get away from them.
Incoming mission critical message.
Sis left. Because you make them mad because they couldn't interdict you. I'm just as mad because they do interdict me. And if I was an expert gunner, I'd destroy them. And even after they're dead, I'd still shoot them. Just to take it out on them. It's kind of interesting. They give you priority access to go into the station, but you don't get priority departure. You have to wait in the queue with everybody else. Is this up? See, look at all those pirate messages of how they're going to destroy me and all that other kind of wild stuff.
Landing gear deployed.
Except for the cruise thing. Now, do we get to 8.2 billion? That's the question.
Landing sequence completed. Ground crew have been dispatched.
I always refuel, and I always do advanced maintenance on the ship's integrity. I want it to be top shape all the time because of all the interdictions and stuff. I want to be ready to go. See, this is the partial that we make nothing yet. We will on the next load probably that we bring. It's on these is where we make our money. See, we need 3.64 something. $3.2. Is this right? Always check, make sure my inventory is empty. Okay, we just barely made it by 910,000. 8.2 billion. Again, you know, I show you how to do it. You can do it by cargo missions. You can make the big money, kind of like the miners make. And I'm not excited about mining just because of pirates and stuff like that, because they've got you where they can shoot at you. At least with running cargo, they have to knock you out of Super Cruise to be able to shoot at you. At least you got a level between where if you can stay in Super Cruise, then they can't shoot at you until they knock you out of Super Cruise. There's a Sothis mining, so we're going to make some extra on the return trip. So that's kind of cool. I like making that extra. Now it's consumer technology, and the return trip you can't pick what you want because there's not as many of them. So you can't be as picky. And I'm not doing planetary right now because when you're right next to the planet fixing to descend, they like to interdict you there, and it can get much stickier. So I don't really care for that. So I just take the ones I feel the most comfortable with. I have done the planetary ones, and I've even done it with the cutter and survived. Like I said, I haven't died in 8 months. And I could run the cutter full time, but you can't go to Sothis mining because it's a small station. You can't land a large pad ship at a small station that only has small and medium pads. Okay, so we're going to go back to Sothis mining, and that will be the end of this video. Sis left. Sis left. Oh, one thing I forgot. I wanted to show you my ships. I almost messed that up. This is the Python. It's got the extra side fins and the spoiler in the back, and it's cobalt. In the hangar, the cobalt doesn't look as good, but out in space and on the planets, it looks really good because it just glistens. It's glittery. So it's just amazing. So you want to see the cutter. Let's go to shipyard, stored ships. I got a sidewinder and a cutter. You want to see the cutter. Same color, side fins, and spoiler. Guess what? Hopefully I can get the fleet carrier to look like. Now the inside of this thing, because I can look 360 with VR, it's pretty swanky. It's pretty big. Where I've got one extra chair, this thing's got 4 extra chairs, because on the wings you can have gunners too. So it's pretty wild. Let's look at its outfitting. This is, see those gunner things on the wings? There's one on each side. You got 2 extra seats in the cockpit. And it's cobalt with the spoiler on the back and fins up on the sides. So there's the RG cutter and the RG Python, and there'll be the RGFC. And hopefully they'll be all the same color. And side fins and maybe even a spoiler, you never know. Okay, we gotta switch back to, because we can't land this at Sothis mining. They won't let you land this. Oh, I'm at the wrong spot. Okay, I want the Python, the RG Python. Sis left. Make sure I'm still set.
Incoming mission critical message.
Let's go to Sothis mining. So I'm showing you how to build credits so you can buy the toys. It's fun to have the toys, especially with VR, because it feels like you're actually flying them, and I can't see
Ship release.
the room that
Observe
I
station
play games
regulations
in.
on exit.
And see, this one you can see around too. 360. I'm a big fan of VR. It's the only games I play are VR related. I don't want to use a computer screen. I want to use VR. I want it all to be three-dimensional. I want to feel like I'm actually in the game, actually there in 3306. And the VR allows me to feel that.
Frameshift drive charging.
And my YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, underneath the video to the left, have over 500 more videos
2, 1, engage.
of all kinds of stuff. Thargoid surface site, the Guardian surface site, Dav's Hope, and Jameson crash site, and skimmer and stinger hunting, bounty hunting, and there's all kinds of stuff. I have double elites, both in trade and explorer, and I'm competent in combat at 18%. Next rank is expert. Always laugh. I'm far from an expert. Even if I get to expert, which I will eventually, I'm not an expert. We're going to be interdicted, he says. That's basically what he's saying. That big haul. I think we have, 100 units out of 280 or something that we're taking back. But they say that even if you have no cargo. At times it's just canned messages. But it is what it is. I don't like interdictions, but there's nothing I can do. I fuss about them all the time, but it doesn't do any good. I have 2 videos of 7 interdictions in one Super Cruise run. One just was like 2 or 3 days ago. And I have one of 6 interdictions in the cutter. And that's a really pain in the neck. When you have 6 in that one Super Cruise run in the cutter. I like flying that thing, but I don't like it during an interdiction. Not when I have the Python. It's not super bad. That Type 9, oof. Those things are awful. They're even worse than the cutter. Yeah, these controllers don't stay on a target real well. Barely move the stick and they jump around. But they're wireless. I have a HOTUS, I just don't use it. I'd rather use the wireless controllers. Sis left. Go back to. I wish I could use voice for Super Cruise Assist, but there's not a keyboard or mouse mapping. The last I checked, so I hope they add that at some point. Make it so much easier to turn it on and off by voice. But you're always watching for the pirates with the superpowers to jump in right behind you out of thin space. And that's a big complaint too that people have. Why do pirates, why are they able to do that? Why do they have superpowers? Because all the developers are from Somalia. That's why. They're all pirates. They come from generations of pirates. And everything is about pirating, about stealing and killing and destroying. That's all it's about. Just left.
Docking request granted.
Yeah. You know how I feel all the time about everything. I'm opinionated, but I don't push my opinion on you. See, they do that. They attack you right at the station. We can't do that. That's another one of their superpowers. To be able to nearly hit somebody. Now, they do hit you sometimes. I've had them hit my ship with their ship. So it does happen at times. Why can they do that? I don't like that feature either.
Docking successful.
You shouldn't be able to do
Engines
that.
Disengaged.
We got this one mission that we have to turn in, and then we're done with this video. And it's to the next one. At the next 50 million mark. Made 4.5 million. Is this right? And as you see, my combat rating of competent 18, trader rank elite, explorer rank elite. So please press that subscribe button at the lower right of the video. It'll help me with YouTube, doesn't cost you a thing, and you'll be informed the next time I produce a video. Underneath the video, the bottom of the description, you'll see ways to donate. Please donate. It's a huge undertaking cost-wise to do 500 plus videos in 3 months. So underneath the videos to the left, my YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, and please watch our videos. We got all kinds of stuff. So about everything you can think of in Elite Dangerous is there. So check them out, and we'll catch you on the next video where, let's see, we'll be crossing the 8.25 on the next video. So until then, thank you for watching.